Gordon. Um, let's see. Uh, hmm. I There's a lot to say. This book's crazy. This book's intense. There's a lot. Um, I like overall the directions that the narrative took. I would have been even down for it to get even more weird and more graphic and more terrible towards the end in terms of its descriptions of the bad places, but it's okay that it didn't go there. My overarching feeling is pretty much the exact same from the beginning, or like from the midway point, except everything's just sort of like stronger. Like I still think that this was like a really, really just beautifully written description of the era, and it's not really like a war torn and occupied France is a really interesting place to be, especially with I guess just the American perspective on what we were doing during the war. Don't really think about these places as much, so that was all really really cool. Um, I still like still throughout it, I never really lost that feeling of like not super liking Isabel's. It's still weird. Like I liked her personality, but did I not? I don't really her narrative arc or her like character. I don't really know what it's even called because like I found her like likable, but I still never bought into her being like the spy that she was, and so it was never like believable for me. So that was kind of like a little bit immersion breaking. But like overall, like it didn't like it's kind of like I had said like I think like Pearl Harbor in a lot of ways is like a cinematic masterpiece for what it did, but like the love story that happened between like Hartnett and or whatever that chick was, I think kind of sucked, but it doesn't like change the fact that like I thought that it was a great movie. You know what I mean? So I think this is a great book. I really really like hmm, other sister. I'm blank. Vienne. Her story I thought was very good and very gripping. Um, I guess the only thing that yeah, yeah, yeah. So with the ending, when it went Back to the Future Part Two, uh, like I found myself at first questioning like, what's even the point of us even going to the future? Like, what's the point of this being one of those stories where like it starts with the future and it's about some old person remembering their past, and then especially like at that conference and like seeing all the people that were touched by all of these things, like that was like really powerful, and I thought that was like really really cool. Um, but at the same time, like it just felt kind of gross and sad that like everyone was just dead from cancer. Like it didn't like I guess it's like realistic with that amount of time that went by, but uh, yeah, that was kind of like I don't know if it was like disappointing or sad or whatever. The only thing that I was a little unclear on was like when Isabel supposedly died. I wasn't clear if they were saying that she died like almost immediately from where we saw it leave off, or she had years to live. I couldn't really tell. Um, but yeah, overall pretty good book. I'm probably gonna give it a very strong four. Maybe because Isabel thing, although I might be persuaded to give it a five depending on because I think it deserves. I don't even know. It's a very good book. I think that's it for me.
I don't want to go next. Manel can go next, but I will say I thought Isabel died immediately after.
I think that's
I don't know
what
why I
I
perceived
gathered
it as
too,
that.
but I think that if she died immediately afterwards, I thought it would have been a little more obvious that she immediately died instead of like inferred. But I also kind of took it as that way. I think
Hmm.
Oh,
there she
I'm here.
is.
Oh
Yay!
no!
Hi. Okay, am I going next?
I think so.
Yes.
Okay. I'm with you with everything that you just said. I also didn't really connect with Isabel. I thought like towards the end of the book I might like her more, but I don't know, for some reason I don't see her as the Nightingale. And how many times did she cross that thing? 26 times the mountains or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I was like, really? You did? You did that? I mean, of course, kudos to her for doing that. That was very brave of her. But like, I didn't really. I don't know. For some reason, I didn't really connect. But I still liked her. Like, I think I liked her a little bit towards the end, but not as much as I thought I would. I liked Vienne more. Her story was like so heartbreaking and like, oh, I actually learned so much from her. Like, I never thought about the kids who kind of got adopted into these families and who are probably living lives now or who lived lives like without knowing their true identity. Like all the Jewish kids who got sent away or got adopted into like these French families. I never even thought of that, but like, geez, that must have happened like to so many kids at the time, and that's really sad. Ah, the part where they shot their dad and they hung all the other like sympathizers, the rebel sympathizers or whatever, that was like, ugh, gruesome, like so sad.
Hmm.
And the new guy who came to take Beck's place, like, oh my gosh, he was the worst. Like, compared to Beck, I wish Beck lived. Like, he was like a million times better than this guy. This guy was gross. He was a pervert and he was like some sicko. I hate him. And to think that he's the dad, like Julian's dad, like, ew. But also
Crazy.
at the
I know.
same time, like, yes, he's the dad, but he's also Vian's son. So like I think that holds more weight because that guy was never really there. He was just a sperm at the end. But like Anton, the real father, he was there at the end. So yeah, I like the book too. I actually learned a lot about it, like about the wall and stuff from their perspective, and I thought that was really interesting. So yeah, I think it's a solid 4 for me also. Just the part about me not connecting with Isabel just is bothering me, but apart from that, like I could be convinced to give it 5 stars, but also probably a 4. Yeah.
Cool. I thought of something else as you were talking, but I can go after Julia. Oh wait. Oh, you're muted.
I
There you
said
go.
go for it.
Oh. Oh. Um so I was like racking my brain a lot about what about Isabel was bugging me, and this is like something that like I sort of fell to, or like basically basically I think I think that to me the reason she wasn't believable is because I think that she has a narrative, call it like a training arc, or like a narrative, like how that person comes to be what they are, that we would see in like a action adventure book or a fantasy book or something to that effect, where like the fact that you're a rambunctious kid and you are escaping from your orphanages, or your not your orphanages, but your boarding schools or whatever, that is enough to turn you into, like, the warrior princess that we all adore by the end of the book. um but the thing about it is that, like, as soon as you take that kind of a story and put it into the middle of World War II, I just like couldn't buy it. And especially because you have this Nightingale crew and she's surrounded by like a bunch of men. And it's not that I think that like the men are better because they're men, but I think that they were all better because they all had like they at least the ones that we heard about, they all had like military training or political training or something to that effect, which is like what you actually need to be good at doing something like this, not just being a bratty kid. Do you know what I'm saying? Like her origin story works when like it's like a fiction story, but like to me, as soon as you drop it into something like this, I'm like, no, like you can't, like you have to have been able to kill people, or do something, some kind of start to this besides what she had, just being a, I don't even know. So I think that's the disconnect for me. Like it's the fact that the story being told was so damn realistic. Like I really just felt like I was there in like a realistic war torn France with all this horrible stuff happening. And then Isabel's story to me does not fit in that greater, terrible, highly realistic narrative. Yeah.
I think the reason why is because Isabel made it seem easy. Like we never the only struggle that we ever really got from Isabel was when she was climbing the mountains and she described like how difficult it was like on her
Right.
body and everything. But like everything else was very much, oh, it's easy for me to do these things because I'm a pretty young French girl and she just got away with that. Whereas with Vienne, like you saw her struggle. Like you saw her get sick and starve and have to like make these like really tough decisions and take these actions that were like really just like fucking difficult on her, but we never saw that with Isabel. Like
Right.
we knew Isabel was part of it, but it was a lot of passing on messages and relying on her beauty and being sneaky, but it wasn't the struggle, I think, the way that Isabel, I mean Vienne kind of, I don't know. And for some reason at the end of the book too, I felt more strongly for Vienne hiding those like 19 kids versus Isabel crossing the mountain 26 times. And I don't know why, because like if you think about it, and then maybe I don't know, maybe subconsciously it's because Vienne was actually helping Jewish people and Isabel was just helping like Yanks and Brits. I don't know. I don't know what it
Mhm.
was, but towards the end, I kind of felt the same way as you guys because initially I really did like Isabel. I was like, oh my god, hell yeah, like she's a rebel and this and this and that. But then it got to the point where I was just like, well, what is she like?
What are you doing? Like, what do you do here?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I understand what you're doing, but and I'm not trying to like diminish what she's doing or say like it's not hard. Like obviously it's very hard, but it just wasn't a struggle in the way that Vienne struggled. So maybe
Mhm.
that's why. I don't know. um, like literally the hardest thing that she had to do was one, the mountains, obviously, very hard. Two, the concentration camps, But it was at that time we really actually saw her suffer through what was going on. And to my point, because I brought this up the first time and I'm going all over the place, I'll start from the beginning, but remember how the new guy in Vienne's house, the new commander, like took advantage of her because she was like young and impressionable, like he could? That's what I was saying when fucking Isabel owned the bookshop and she had all of these men coming in. Remember? I was just like, that just doesn't kind of make any sense to me. I was
Yeah.
like, if that's what it is, and these are these people, like what, And that's what happened with what's his face. And I was like, yeah. Anyways, so let me circle back. Overall, I really, really love this book. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was like really well written. I loved everybody. Towards the end, I felt like you guys did about Isabel, so that's fair. Um, but just the writing itself, like
So good.
Bien,
Yeah.
it was just so good. This book, I stayed up till like 1 in the morning fucking reading it because I wanted to finish it, and I was like nasty sobbing, like not sobbing because it was just like it was so sad, like when their dad died,
Mm.
and I was sad for Isabel and her going through everything, and it was just like it was just crazy to me, you know, uh, like Aunt like Vienne and Julian, like I don't know how she did it. I don't know how she fucking did it. I don't know how anybody did it, to be completely honest with you. Like it was just crazy. It just made me just view everything in like a very different light, and it was like extremely gruesome, and like hearing about the concentration camps and like what the new guy did to her and everything. Like it was just like it was so tough. But like in the end, like my favorite character is Vienne, and how she was so shy and timid, and she was just doing what she had to do to like get by in the beginning, and she always like gave credit to Isabel for being like the strong one and the rebel and her going out and putting her neck out there. But in the end, Vienne like did just as much, if not more,
Yeah. Yeah.
because she it didn't come naturally for her, but she ended up doing it, and I think that means more to me at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
Um, you know what I mean? And to what like what Mel said, yeah, like I didn't even realize it, but think about all of those fucking kids that um ended up adopted and not even knowing and like losing the heritage. And I was really, really sad when like they took Julian back,
Yeah.
right? But then it made sense. It like
I
when they explained it to her, like it did make a ton of sense. I was like, oh shit, like that's very true. Like if not, it'll be lost. Like
Right.
it's basically what is it called? Is it Holocaust? No. Um,
That was the Holocaust, and they were
I
almost
know, but what is
exterminated,
it when
which is
they
insane.
exterminate? Yeah, like yeah,
Oh,
that's what I'm thinking.
yeah.
Annihilation, like when you like
Oh, that
have
word.
an extermination
Genocide.
genocide.
Yeah.
Genocide. Yeah, it would
Yeah.
have been a genocide to Jewish if, like, they didn't to, like, the everything if, like, they didn't put them back into the population. I don't know, you know what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Um, so that was just, like, really tough. And I personally don't really like historical fiction that much. I think remember we had read a lot of them for a while, and then we were like, "Well,
Mhm.
okay, let's stop." But, like, this has to be, like, top 10 books
Super
for me,
good.
and just
Yeah.
the way it was written and, like, the way it made you feel. Like, maybe it's not a 5 star, but it's, like, a fucking
Agreed.
great book.
Right on the
It is
cusp of a
such a
5.
good book.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, like, I like, 10 out of 10, it'd be, like, a 4.5 for me. I don't know why, but it was just really good. I felt like we could have done without Isabel's, like, love story too. I just felt like it was kinda in there, but, he came back. And I don't know, him living kind of pissed me off too. I'm not gonna lie to anybody here, like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
And it fed into, like,
So
Isabel's whole arc was just too easy. Like like like, if you're
yeah,
trying
yeah,
if you're trying to, like, show,
exactly.
like, women can be strong, then, like, show her being strong.
Yeah,
To me, she was not strong throughout
yeah,
this whole book, and so it's like, what is your point? And then at the
no,
end, instead of her dying, her dad, a man, comes and, like, saves her. I just I don't know, like,
yeah,
like, it does like, it to me, like, the whole point of making a book like this to, like, show the strength of a woman, because we saw Vienne's strength. That was great. But I think that there's
yeah,
other strengths that a woman could demonstrate in, like, a more tactical setting like that. I think that they're fully
yeah,
capable, but that's not what it would look like. Like that, it works when you're like, I don't know, in a Marvel movie, but like if you're thinking of in the terms of like real world, she would have been dead. Like so early in the book, she would have been
absolutely,
dead
absolutely,
fully.
absolutely. Like, I think Isabel's, like, whole, like, character arc was just, like, how far pretty privilege can get you, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't that's not what I was looking for in a character in this scenario. That's just, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like I said, I feel like it was more meaningful for Vienne because she wasn't this, like, heroic, like, like, head fast, strong person who was wanting to make a change. Like, she just wanted to get by, but she found it within herself to, like, still struggle, almost die, like, starve, and
Yeah.
still do what she did. So I don't know. Um, and about Isabel too, like, even when she went to the concentration camps, she was still miraculously surrounded by people who were helping her, like Anouk and the other girl, like, telling her to, like, sign up, like, you've got this, you can do this, like, keep going.
Right.
Um, and then not only that too, I guess now it's all coming back to me. All they ever trained her was like, you need to last 2 days, like, you need to make it 2 days. She went through a little bit of torture, and she's like, I can see why they said 2 days. I'm not gonna make it 2 days. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
Like, immediately, she's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not gonna last 2 days."
not
And I
only
don't know, she ended up lasting 2 days or whatever. I don't know if they cut her off before the 2 days. I don't know. But even at that point, I was just like, "Girl, they fucking instilled that shit in your brain," and, like, you know what I mean? And I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong, but in my head, I'm thinking, "Well, you already fucking caught me. I'm gonna die. Like, what does it matter if I fucking tell you now or in 2 days? I'm not gonna tell you at all. You're gonna fucking kill me." But I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That's kind of, like, not right of me to say. But anyways. But other than that, yeah, this was like a beautifully written book. I loved the language, I loved the characters, I loved the stupid fucking ribbons that she put on her tree. That shit just looks like so
Mm.
just amazing to me. Like, there was just I just loved this book. I genuinely loved this book. Not a 5, but I would recommend it to anybody. I think it was a really, really good book.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because I think at the end of the day, like, because of the scope of this book, you are not at all reading it for Isabel. It's annoying that she was what it is, but like, yeah,
No.
that is not why you're reading this book, and so it's not. It really doesn't diminish it that much. If you had someone like Isabel, and then the actual story didn't really make sense, I would. This would be like a 2. Like if we were reading it for Isabel, this would have been like way
oh,
worse. But that's not why we're here. We're here because this is just a
Yeah.
beautiful,
Yeah.
crazy, insane part of her
Yeah.
history, and this is an awesome retelling of it, and it's
Yeah.
impressive.
but
Yeah.
the
And, like,
story sorry.
even if I didn't like Isabella herself. Sorry, go ahead, Manel.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. Even if I didn't like Isabel herself, I still like the theme of sisterhood and them finding each other, falling apart, arguing, coming together, and them seeing each other like eye to eye in every single, like, instance. Like, in the end, Vienne kind of saw it, and Isabel kind of saw, like, what Vienne had to do. and their father and all of that, like those relations, I still think that relationship is precious. I loved their relationship in this book. I feel like it was, and I appreciated it. So, like you said, it's not necessarily Isabel, so I'm not knocking it, but yeah, like the theme of like the sisterhood and like that familiar. Oh,
I lost her.
did she drop off for you?
Yeah, I also to me, she like reached to her phone and then it dropped off. So it could be she just got an important call because I know it does that. Maybe. Give her a minute, I guess. I'm now driving down to Irvine
Oh,
for like
every day?
from up here. No, I was just gonna say it's
Oh,
very not at all like your struggle, but at least closer.
mm,
Like coming to Ontario is harder, but I usually try and leave work at around like 1 p.m. to avoid the traffic, and also both directions I'm clocked in and working, so I'm not even like, do you know what I'm saying? And I'm
oh, what the
hourly, so I'm like actually like we're earning money during that time, you know what I mean? So it's very, but it's still fun.
alright, Darren, rub it in.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Because like while I
Rub
was driving
it in.
down there, I was thinking about it. I was like, man, doing the same thing as Julia. This is terrible. And I was like, no, this is not the same as what Julia has to do.
Yeah. I bought my car in August of last year. Do you know how many miles I have in this fucking bitch?